San Diego State researchers looked at the changes in societal support of working mothers since the 70s and the impact of working mothers on their children. Joining me with the details are Kelly Jenkins-Pultz, Women's Bureau Analyst with the U.S. Department of Labor, and SDSU psychology professor Jean Twenge, a lead investigator in the study and author of the book Generation Me. Now, Jean, you researched how teenagers and adults feel about working moms. What were some of your key findings?
So the data go all the way back to the 70s, and they ask questions about whether children will be harmed if their mothers work and if working moms can develop a close relationship with children. And it's a pretty big change. So it's a question about, will a preschool child suffer if his or her mom works? And among adults in the 70s, about 68% said, yeah, I think they would, but that was only 35% by the time we got to the 2010s.
Was there anything that you could find that showed you why the support shift happened?
Well, certainly, there's been more emphasis on tolerance and equality, so gender equality over time. And then it could also be just that more women have been working. And so for that reason alone, acceptance would have increased.
Did you see the growth as linear as it steadily climbed, or were there kind of some ups and downs?
Yeah, there were a few ups and downs. So there was a little bit of a backslide in the late 1990s. Working moms were at that time, that was kind of the last vestiges of that being controversial. And then by 2000, from 2000 to 2012, just continued to go up in terms of acceptance.
So Kelly, how many mothers are part of the U.S. labor force?
Well, we have 31 million working moms in the workforce today, and that's up dramatically from the 1970s where we had about 46% of all mothers were in the workforce, and now 70% of all working moms are in the workforce.
Yeah, so what types of jobs do moms tend to go for, or are they in? Is there an average income or a wage for these working mothers?
Working mothers tend to earn lower wages than women in general, and we still see that working mothers earn wages that are lower than working fathers. So still a bit of a challenge for women that are balancing both home and family and getting ahead in the workplace.
Is there a wage gap specifically you can tell us, and why would that be?
Yes. On average, all working women compared to all working men earn about 82% of men's weekly wages, but working mothers compared to working fathers only earn about 74% of working fathers' wages, so a pretty big gap.
Just from your research, do you think there's a reason for that?
A reason for the wage gap?
Sure, for working moms versus women who are working, that particular gap, right? So women are working, but the moms are still getting paid much less than the other women who are working.
Yeah, well, a lot of times they work fewer hours,
yes.
And sometimes that's by choice. There's lots of other reasons too.
Yeah. Well, that brings me back to you, Kelly. Is there a particular type or a trend on the types of jobs that mothers tend to have?
Our data doesn't look specifically at how their jobs differ compared to the jobs of all women, but when you look at all women, what you see is that there's still quite a bit of occupational segregation. Women are still much more likely to be in healthcare, in teaching, in professional jobs that require education, but not necessarily the higher paying STEM jobs, science, technology, engineering, math, still few women in the trades.
I see. Now, Jean, why did you want to study attitudes toward working mothers here in 2015?
Yeah, well, I study generational differences, and generational differences are based in cultural change. And arguably, one of the biggest ways our culture has changed is not only do more women work, but more mothers with young children work. That's had a big effect on lots of people's lives. So it would be great to try to document some of the changes in attitudes.
There have been some other studies about the effects of working mothers over the years, and they've shown some mixed results. A new Harvard study out recently, though, actually found that daughters of working moms are more likely to succeed in their career and earn higher salaries than daughters of non-working moms. So what do you think the impact of that study is? Why do you think that is?
Definitely role models. You can't underestimate the importance of women having really strong role models.
And what do you think the impact is of working mothers on their children, especially daughters?
Yeah, well, we found in our study that those who had a working mom growing up were more supportive working mothers. So they were saying, well, this is the way it was growing up, and yeah, I wasn't harmed by that, and that may have also resulted in them having a good role model for work, and that may be one of the reasons they're more supportive.
All right, Professor Jean Twenge and Kelly Jenkins-Pultz, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.